Hey you guys, how's it going? Right now I am gonna transplant my raspberry bush into a pot. I had purchased this raspberry bush, the thorny one. Here, let me get you a closer look. The thorny one I planted it last year, and amazingly enough, it's like almost end of October and it's still producing, but it's only this little clump right here. The other ones are dying off already from over there. That's the main stump over there. You can see it's dying off, but then I think this one is just a new branch that has blossomed into another plant. So this one is doing really good. The other one, not so much, and I don't know why. Maybe I didn't take very good care of it. Regardless, as you all know, raspberry bush, they grow like a weed. So while I do have some weed over here, which I neglected, it sends out new shoots everywhere, because there's one over there that it has browned and dried up. And then over here, there's a couple more over here that you can see I started training up here, but it started to die off over here. It's intermixing with my yellow butterfly bush. So raspberry bush, these are the older variety, the ones with the thorn. And I don't really want it. It's just here because it does produce fruit, which is great. I mean, like right now you can take these. This one is ripe. They're smaller during this time of the year, but they're still producing, still yummy. So I'm glad for the harvest. I just come out here and randomly pick, and some of them, have already dried up and dropped. You can see over here just a little bit here and there. But this new variety that I purchased is a thornless raspberry. I'm going to eat these since I'm just holding them. Just make sure there's no bugs on it. Oops. So this is my thornless raspberry. And you can see I start training on it. This is just I believe it's a cattle fence that one of my neighbor had used to put a fence around his pool, and it turned out really good, but he had some extra, and so he gave it to me, and I thought I would use it to train the raspberry because they flop all over the place. So I was starting to train it up, and it's doing a decent job, but it's toward the end of the season. Look at all these new stock it's sending out. Like, I've got to train all of these up. They're just laying on the ground. See, so it's better if they are able to trail against something else. So I really need to do that. But what I really want to do is take this plant with me when I move. And while everything is still a little bit unknown, I don't know when I'm going to actually move. I would hate to leave this into the ground and not be able to take it with me. So I'm probably going to just prune it back, cut it back, because it's fall time. They're going to go into hibernation. Even though, I don't know, to tell you the truth, look at it. It's still growing and branching off. So it might still keep on producing and growing. But I haven't had a crop on this one yet. So I think I'm going to just trim it all the way back to where it's more manageable. And then I'm going to pot it up with another pot that I use for my blueberry. And then I'm just going to intermix those two together. And then hopefully by that time that I need to put it into the ground in the springtime, I will have a new home for myself and for the plants. So I'm going to trim it back first. And then after that, dig around it and see how everything looks. And it would seem that they root really easily. So if you really want to, you can just take them and then root a whole bunch of new ones. And I might do that just to make sure that I have a couple that actually survive. I don't know how well they would do when transplanting from ground to pot to ground. So I might actually just help myself by taking some more cutting from these guys. They look healthy. I mean, they're about 3 feet tall almost. So I'm gonna do some cutting from this as well as dig that up and take with me. I think this one's actually taller than me. Here, I put that to the side. Gotta clear away the mulch. And then go in with the shovel. I honestly don't know how hard this ground is going to be. Hopefully it's not that hard. Ooh, guess the ground is pretty loose, so I'm just going to pull it up. Since I'm putting it into a pot, I don't really want to keep, the root system doesn't look very big, and that's due to our native soil. It's not very healthy, but it looks like it's doing really well. I mean, keeping up with it. So I'm just going to remove most of the dirt. Like you can see new growth. See that new bud right there and right there? So I'm going to take it over here. Woo! And we are going to transplant it along with this blueberry bush. So I think I'll probably just put it like right next to it. I'm going to have to go get a shovel, but I think I'm just going to put it right next to it. That should work out just fine. Alrighty. So I'm going to try to not disturb the blueberry bush too much. Amazing how you can grow weed everywhere, but it's harder than heck to grow what you really want. You can make a little hole. And then just plop it down there. Make sure the roots are down. Backfill it. Tap it down. And then I would normally give it some water, but it's expected to rain, so I'm not going to water it in. If for some reason it doesn't look like it's going to rain, then I'll come out and water it. Looks like I had a couple of root balls. I think these are my basil couple of my basil that I trimmed off. So that's how it looks, you guys. Nothing too big, just minor stuff. So I just cut it back to make sure that the transplant shock doesn't, totally kill it. But basically that's all I did. Just plop it down here. I might remove this one. This one looks a little bit small. Seems like it's moving a little. I want it to be down there, snuggle as a bug. Ooh, speaking of bugs, there are bugs in there. All right, and then this is my blueberry. It gave me a couple berries this year, but not very much, but I just transplanted, so I wasn't expecting too much out of the first year. But yeah, that is about it. I think I'm gonna go look around some more to see what other plants I can remove without damaging my garden. So what's happening is we're putting the house up for sale. So we've got to make sure that the house, we pressure wash this whole deck. Ooh, it looked bad before, so it definitely looks way better. But I can't put any of my plants over here. I can't remove some of my plants because, you want to be pleasing to the eye when people come and look at your house. I don't want to have my garden tore up while they come and look. But I'm definitely going to take a couple of the plants in here. The main one of which is the Rio Samba. It's still beautiful, you guys. End of October. I'm so hesitant to cut off all the flowers. Look at all the blooms. And I still have new growth over here. See, look at all the pretty blooms. So what I'll do is, when it's closer for us to move, I want to probably cut this all the way back down and then dig it up and then take it with me. So hopefully it will survive the transplant shock. Now I do have some that have rooted, but I'm really bad at labeling and I don't know if it's actually Rio Samba or a different variety of roses. So I don't want to leave this one here and then realize that I didn't have any cutting of the Rio Samba. The only bad thing about propagating, I am so bad at labeling. Like I just cut, get a cutting, stick it in the pot, and then I just leave it, and then I totally forget about it until it either roots or I have to throw it away because the stem have rotted. But aren't they beautiful? I mean, look at them. They still remind me of summer. Everything is still doing great. Rio Samba, by far the best rose so far in this garden, performing from spring all the way till late fall. This is the Angel Trumpet, one of my other favorites, still doing its thing. Also, I want to show you guys a couple other things. Let me see. As you know, the Vermillionaire still blooming its head off, the end of fall time. Look at all those bumblebees. Isn't that spectacular? And you've got some little honeybees, and then of course the big bumblebee. They're just kind of fun to watch, but this is the main attractor, I guess, now for bumblebees, but they were the main attractor for the hummingbirds. I still have my tomato over here. It still has some flowers on there, so hopefully I'll get some more before the frost comes. But another one that is always in bloom. It did stress out during the heat of summer, but look, you guys, my Japanese, what is it, flowering maple, it's called a Chinese lantern. Main name for it, a Abutilon. Yeah, there we go. I keep forgetting. But look at that, it's still blooming its head off, and it's end of October. This is the main one from the pot. I'm going to take this with me. There's another one that I have trained into a standard, and it's blooming its head off as well. Let me show you really quickly. This one right here. This is the one that I trained into a standard. And look at all those flowers. It's almost as much as the leaves itself. Can you guys see that? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I'm really sidetracking. I apologize. But the main point was to dig up that the thornless raspberry bush. And then I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I still have to do. So I'll take you along with me as I do that. But I just want to show you. Look how pretty it looks. All those flowers. I mean, it has more flowers than it does leaves. Isn't that crazy? And they're all so beautiful and dainty. So this is the sunny side. Sunny side. I mean, look at all those flowers. Now imagine if you have like a row of those. Wouldn't that be beautiful? And I think they're going to get really large. So I have to see. I mean, that's just a 1 year's growth right there. That's so crazy. And then this is still the front of my flower bed. All the coleus is starting to bloom. Some more roses. Let me show you this cabbage. I have quite a few cabbage on here because I wanted to get some cabbage heads, of course. But look at this one. I feel like a baby cabbage doll is going to pop out. You know those Cabbage Kids dolls that, you know, way back then. I'm actually telling you how old I am by stating that. But isn't this awesome? That's like a little cabbage head on the inside. But look at the leaves. I mean, honestly, I guess you can saute the leaves if you really want to. Because that's what you do for cabbage anyways. So you just take one of these, I mean, steam it, cabbage, you know, steam it. I bet you it would taste really good. Anyways, I'm going to have to leave those in the ground instead of taking them with me. But I am going to take this red bud with me. This one that I've trained. I'm going to dig it up and take it with me. But see, it's kind of creating that front view, and I don't want to take too many stuff away from it because, you know, when people come and look at our house, they're going to be like, wow, what's missing? But look at all the roses. Aren't they still doing really good? All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I'm going to do a couple more things. When I'm ready, I'll post up some more videos, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Bye.